Arrow Season 4, Episode 7, Brotherhood. This episode is actually yet another surprise. Someone's brought back from the dead. Not as big of a surprise because they did show it in the trailer, but definitely an interesting episode. We have a character brought back from the dead. Yet another person, because it's like, Sarah actually dead. Ray thought to be dead. And then apparently at this point, Diggle's brother also thought to be dead, who wasn't. And it was kind of cool, them going through the paces, trying to figure out how do we save his brother. Diggle kind of being in the opposite end. And it was kind of weird. Like, me and my girlfriend were watching this at the same time. She was so mad that he had all these issues about saving his brother. And when it first started, I didn't have as much of an issue with it because it was like right when it happened. And it was like right after he learned all this bad information. So I was like, okay, he just learned all this bad information and his brother came back to life. And his brother's been gone for like a super long time. I could see how he could be a little messed up in the beginning. But then it literally did carry on through the entire episode. And by the end, I was a little bit bothered by it because it's like, I understood it, like I said, from the beginning. It was like he just got hit with a truckload of information all at once. I could see him being like, he doesn't deserve to come back and all this other stuff because he just found out that his brother was actually like this really bad person. And then it was kind of like he ignored everything that happened when they went and they saw Dark have these people, I think they ate some pills or whatever. And it's like, okay, we saw that happen. They're all under mind control, basically. And we don't know what happened, to your brother all this time. And it was just like, even until the end, it was like, nope, he was gone for this long. And maybe he chose initially, but, I mean, with it being an evil, anything evil in the comic universe, it's like, you may have started by choice, but by the time you're like 2 months in, you're under mind control. That's pretty much how it goes. So it seemed like he wasn't giving him any sort of benefit of the doubt. It was just like, nope, he did these bad things. He left, his wife and his son. He left me, and it was just like, it was almost like he did his grieving process, obviously. So he did all of that, and then when he found out his brother was alive, it was like he went into denial about him being alive. That's how it seemed to be this whole episode. It was like it was either anger or denial. Like the back and forth, that was pretty much it. It was like he can't be, or he doesn't deserve to, be forgiven or something like that. And it was just weird that he kept saying that. Like it was just weird that it lasted the entire episode. And even by the end, he still didn't exactly want his brother back. It seemed it was kind of just like, is this true? And that was pretty much it. And his brother said, of course, it's all true. And so, episode over, and we just have to wait and see. And considering the next episode, I'm pretty sure we aren't getting anything this week because of Thanksgiving. So, the next episode is going to be the crossover. We aren't really going to be getting a buttload of information, I have to assume, on what's going down with his brother or anything. So, that kind of sucks. I don't believe it's happening this week. That would be awesome if the shows came on this week and everything just stopped on Thursday, but I don't think we're getting anything out of the CW this week. So, I mean, I watch, 4 shows? So, I don't really know, and it's either Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's pretty much it for me. So, I don't really know 100%, but it was just weird that he had such an issue with it, with his brother kind of being brought back from the dead. And it's like, man, he's super mad whole time. Just, nope, I'm pissed about this. He did some bad stuff in the past, left his family, and I would have to assume it's it's the combination of both. It's like he left his wife and his child to do a bunch of evil stuff, pretty much. So, I do still technically get where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's kind of like Sarah kept saying, it's like, he's your brother, like, shouldn't you give him the benefit of the doubt? And especially after he and Oliver went on the mission, and it was like, oh, mind control, right in our faces, he was still like, nope, I'm mad at him. And I was, like, after that happened, I was kind of just like, I don't know if that makes 100% sense to me. But he certainly had an amazing moment. I think it was towards the end of the episode when he was talking, I want to say it was with Sarah, and he actually cried. I was like, holy crap, nobody cries on Arrow. That's a Flash thing. People cry on there all the time. So when Diggle did that, I was like, holy crap, like that, it actually affected me because no one's ever really crying on Arrow. It's so rare to actually see people crying. And then he had just had like a genuine, crying moment. I was like, that was an unbelievable scene. Like, it would have been good even if it happened a lot, because even in Flash, when they actually cried, it's just good because they're good actors. But because it was so rare, it's so rare to see it in Arrow, it made it even crazier to actually see someone crying. And I don't think Diggle has ever had a scene. I think Oliver has had more crying scenes than Diggle has had. And Oliver's had like a billion people get killed in front of him, so that's a little different. But, Diggle was just like, holy crap, Diggle actually, like, basically kind of burst into tears. It's whenever it's a TV thing, it's like they do the whole burst into tears and then they stop themselves like a second later because they're amazing actors. But it was still crazy to see that. I was like, holy crap, that actually hit me emotionally at my core, because we just don't ever, Diggle doesn't cry, so that was crazy to see. But it was a really great scene. Another really awesome moment he had was when he was talking about saving, I think he was like, I need my brother, or I need to help my brother, and he was like, the green one. I was like, that was a pretty awesome moment too, because it just shows, how close they really are. So I thought that was actually an awesome scene too. We get to see Lila in this episode. They have come back from whatever dimensional, rift they've been in for a super long time. Still haven't seen the baby, but they were gone for, I don't know how long. Like, they mentioned that they were gone a long time ago. I think it was when things first started up with the ghosts. And then they never really talked about them again. So they're there. They're at the house, I guess. Ray, we got to actually see fight, which I was hoping we'd get to see, kind of like how they did with Sarah. They brought Sarah back. In the next episode, we got to see her fight. Same thing happened. They saved Ray in the last episode, and we got to see him fight. So that was pretty awesome. I think I called him Arrow just now as well instead of Adam. But it was pretty cool. We got to see him fight, and he comes in kind of out of nowhere. Like, his whole thing was like trying to figure this stuff out with the tooth and everything, and he was just like, he kind of just didn't want to be involved anymore. He just wanted to do something else. So it was nice that they actually put it in there where it was like, out of nowhere, here comes Ray, just boom, he takes some people out. He's just punching, and he's got bullets just ricocheting off of him, and he's just fighting. So I was like, that's pretty cool to see. It was nice to get that little hint. I'm assuming he'll be fighting in the crossover episode as well. So looking forward to that and seeing just some really awesome stuff happening. I'm super excited for that. I mentioned this in my Flash review, but super excited for that crossover to happen, because it's going to be everyone together. It's not like, oh, it's just, it's Barry and Oliver kind of working together as a team. This is leading into the Legends of Tomorrow, and we're getting everybody, fighting at the same time. So I cannot wait to see how that happens, because Vandal Savage is not a 2-episode character, and that's why we have Legends of Tomorrow. So we're getting basically a season. I don't know how long that's actually supposed to be, but it's in between the mid-season finale and mid-season premieres for the shows. So it could be, I would say probably, it would probably only be about like 13 episodes. Not even 13 episodes. It would probably be like 8 to 10 episodes maybe, which is still a good amount of episodes considering I'm assuming it'll be an hour long, because the CW, I don't think, even has half-hour shows anymore outside of reruns from other channels. So it'll be a good amount of content, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. So I won't even bother getting into speculating if they beat Vandal Savage or anything like that. But really looking forward to it. They've already done their great lead-ups with like Sarah, Ray in this, and even in Flash they've done like Hawkgirl and everything. So looking forward to what they're going to be doing for that next week. And there was definitely some other stuff in this episode. Because I'm super far behind, I'm trying to make sure I remember everything for all my reviews. But well, the flashbacks worth talking about. It was better than the last one, to be totally honest, because pretty much nothing happened in the last one until the very end when he got ambushed by the dude. We do find out the flashback in this was actually much better than the last one, because not only did we see, and it was very minor, but we technically saw like some mystical stuff happening where the guy figures out who's lying and who's telling the truth. So that was pretty cool. And then the emotional impact of finding out that Vlad is actually the woman's brother. And of course, I do not remember her name. His name is easy because I swear every series is a little racist when it comes to Russian people. There's a Vlad in all of it, so that's easy to remember. That's pretty much it. And I don't believe he said, he didn't say that he was the one that did it, or maybe he did. I honestly can't remember at this point. I don't think he did, though. And he kind of just hides it from her. That's just going to come out. So, there's really nothing to say about that. Every secret where it's like you killed the person and then you lie, it's going to come out. He whips the dude that lied to him, or, that tried to have him killed. So he whipped that guy up. Like, literally, he whipped him. And then I don't know where it's going to go from there, because, like, this guy is still going to be going after Oliver. Like, that's just, we know that's going to happen. He does not trust him. Granted, he's kind of screwed things over with his boss, because, he's been busted by, the mystical stuff. But he still knows that something's going on. And I guess he didn't, he hasn't taken the laptop to his boss, which I think is kind of a stupid idea if he really wants to have Oliver taken care of, instead of trying to be like the evil dude who does it himself. Just be like, hey, look at this thing I found. It says this. He's the only new person. And that's all it would really take, but he hasn't done that yet. So maybe he's just waiting, I guess. I don't know, because they even mentioned, Oliver even mentioned, like, he's been after me ever since he found, like, the knapsack. And I don't believe that had anything to do, with the laptop. And if it did, then they totally skipped that scene, or I completely missed it. So either that happened and they skipped it, or I missed it, or otherwise they haven't even, he just hasn't brought it up, which makes no sense. I don't know why he's doing it this way. But flashbacks are kind of getting there. This was a pretty good one. I enjoyed this. Like this one, and probably the Constantine one, which isn't the best, because that, that means it's like 2 out of every episode. Those are the only ones I really bothered to remember, because everything else has kind of been like very minor. Like in the beginning it was really awesome, because it was him starting off as like Arrow, which would have been way cooler, to be totally honest, because he was like starting as Arrow in the beginning of the flashbacks, and he was like failed and everything, and he was like pushed onto some wires and stuff, and I was like, these flashbacks are going to be really awesome. And then when he got put back on the island, it was kind of like, this isn't as exciting anymore, because he's not, it's not what I thought it was going to be when he was like starting to become Arrow. And this is, I believe, for the flashbacks, I don't think it's like in line where it's like, it's actually been 4 years now. I think it's only in like the 3rd year, or he might still be in the 2nd year. I think they've only officially said like 1 year has actually passed. So he might still be technically in the 2nd year of the flashbacks at this point. So it's like, it was kind of disappointing thinking back to like that first flashback, and I was like, oh man, he's like the very first version of him trying to be like Green Arrow and everything, and he even failed during that first time when he did it. I was like, this would be cool to see him get, just a little bit better. And then that stopped after the first episode. Now he's on the island, and it's been like nothing. It hasn't even, and I think honestly this is like my least favorite part about it, aside from the Constantine episode, which had Constantine in the flashbacks and in the present. The timeline, or the flashbacks, haven't even tied into the episodes, because that's always been a really cool thing about the show, is that every flashback storyline had a parallel to the current timeline storyline. And it was like, oh, he learned this lesson back then, and it ties into this. And that hasn't happened outside of the fact that we knew that he learned when he saw what Damien Dark did. It was like, oh, he's going to learn about the mystical stuff in this episode. And even that took like 4 more episodes and didn't really start until Constantine came in. So it's still like, we've still hardly seen any of the mystic stuff. We got the note, or like, the secret wall message. We had the little incense crackling sticks in this episode, so we really haven't seen anything. And even outside of them showing us a bunch of mystic stuff, it doesn't tie in like it used to, where it was like, oh, this crazy thing that happened in the flashbacks ties in directly to what's happening in this episode. And it kind of did in this one, because it involved siblings, but it wasn't like, oh, someone, he didn't exactly learn a lesson from the past that he learned, or that he used in this episode. It was just like, oh, well, he killed this person's brother, and I guess that's it. I mean, unless that guy came back to life too later on, and that's why he was so adamant about giving him a second chance, because it could be mystic stuff and they could come back fine, maybe. I don't know, but it just doesn't tie in like it used to. And that does kind of suck, to be totally honest. And it really hasn't been. It doesn't have to be action packed, but honestly, it kind of feels like nothing is happening in the flashbacks as well. It's like he's the only exciting thing is that he's keeping this woman safe, and that's a little boring too. So I hate to kind of like dump on the show or anything, but that's like the one thing that's really kind of bothered me this season. Like the flashbacks just have not been like super epic or anything, and even like the minor stuff where, like I said, it just some lesson he learned in the past ties into the present, just doesn't happen. It involves siblings. That's about as close as we've gotten. Everything else is like Constantine's in the past and then the present. That's a good tie-in. And then the other stuff may have tied in and I can't remember, but I don't even bother to remember. Like the only one I remember is the first one because it was so cool. And then Amanda Waller and no more Amanda either, which I thought would have been cool too to see her still kind of messing with him as a part of Argus and everything. Just like she's gone now too, so oh well, something's happening, I guess. But still enjoyed the episode. Felt like I ranted a lot on the flashback, but I still did really enjoy this episode. Like I said, I'm of course really looking forward to the crossover. Always love the crossovers. Definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and of course, I want to know what you guys think is going to happen with Diggle's brother. Like, the whole thing has been Hive had him killed, and now Hive just has him under mind control, so that's just different. That's very different. There's no more revenge. Now it's just figuring out why he left, why he was gone for so long, which I think we can all assume is mind control at this point. Even right now, even though he's been captured, I still have to assume he's under mind control, and they're going to have to, kind of find some way to, like, detox him, I guess. But I don't know. I want to know your speculations for it, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.